Welcome to the Fantasy Football Prophet Podcast, hosted by Craig Phillips and Jeff Torrey. Visit us at fantasyfootballprophet.com. And now your hosts, Craig and Jeff.
Welcome everyone to the Fantasy Football Prophet Podcast. I'm Craig Phillips, joined as always by Jeff Torrey, and today we have the Week 14 Waiver Wire edition of the podcast. So if you're listening to this one, hopefully that means you're in the playoffs, I would think, at this point. So unless you're just looking for ads for next year, but we're not going to go over much of those. So if you're listening to this, good, congrats on making the playoffs, I guess. Jeff, we are some of those people. Playoff games coming up. So have to look at some of the waiver ads. And you know what? There's a few guys here that could be useful, but it could be more of find some defenses here. That's going to be a big part of this week too. If you've been streaming defenses, we'll help people out looking at that. Before we get started, make sure you guys go check us out on Twitter at the FF Prophet. We're on Instagram at Fantasy Football Prophet. The website's fantasyfootballprophet.com, and you can always email us fantasyfootballprophet@gmail.com. If you have any questions, any lineup questions for this week, feel free to ask us, and we'll definitely get back to you and try to give you the best advice we can. Not perfect, but we will give you the best advice that we know how, and it will have some reason behind it at least too. So, all right, waiver wire, Jeff. Do you have anybody off the top of your head or right off the top that is your favorite guy for the week? I got one. Running back. It's actually going to be a running back. And who's yours? Do you have one?
I don't. I'm actually going through them right now. Right. I was going to say
my top ad. It's not. This is the week it is. So I like Mike Davis from Seattle because I think he's the guy there for right now for this week. He's not the long term guy. That's for sure. And Chris Carson's not back yet, which he sounds like he's actually progressing pretty well from his injury, but he couldn't come back though, it looks like, until about week 15. That's as early as he could come back. So at least for the next 2 weeks, it's going to be Mike Davis. And Davis, in this past game, 16 carries, 64 yards. So nothing special, but he had some receiving yards too. He had 10.1 points in standard, but it just shows 16 carries. That's pretty solid. The problem is they're going against Jacksonville, so that's the worry. Jacksonville's defense has been tough, and it's Mike Davis. But if you're in a really bad situation, I guess you could. There's somebody. I don't know if there's a better option than that if you need a waiver wire running back.
Yeah, I was surprised when you said that you had a running back that was your favorite.
He's my favorite running back.
I was going to say, that is very, very shallow right there. Everyone I like. I mean, even the people that would be on my usual waivers, they have no place on my team anymore because I don't have a week to find out if what's going to happen to shake out. So I don't feel comfortable really adding anyone personally.
But you look at it, about 2 seasons ago, I think it was 2 seasons ago, I won a championship with my starting running backs in the final game of Tim Hightower and Cameron Artis-Payne. So these guys, there's a team out there that might need them. I mean, I won a championship with Tim Hightower and Cameron Artis-Payne. That's not even a joke. Yeah, so,
but they were results of injuries, and they turned into number one backs.
So Mike Davis could be there. What about Peyton Barber? And if Doug Martin's out any longer, or is that just not a situation? I guess we just don't know. I mean, Peyton Barber looked good. He played very well, which actually kind of a surprise because I think a lot of people kind of expected Jacquizz Rodgers to be the main back there with the injury, and that ended up not being the case. And Barber turned it into 23 carries for 102 yards, 14.3 total points in standard. So it's an interesting output. After the week before, he only had 5 for 7, but got 2 touchdowns. So I don't know. Here's the thing that could be interesting about Barber. If Martin was out, they're going against Detroit, who has probably the worst run defense in the league right now. So that's the key there. If he's the running back, if he is the starter, that's a big if right now. If he is, would you feel comfortable? Look at Alex Collins just did.
If you're in need, it would be an avenue I would look at, and that would be, the tough part is I don't feel comfortable, a week ahead of time. So will I feel comfortable the day of? Probably not. But at the same time, if you really need someone, if you don't have someone locked down, then yeah, he probably has a better chance than a lot of the other people you can pick up. You have to like the fact that he would be the number one back there.
Yep. Another guy, what about Aaron Jones? He is down to 32% owned.
Yeah, I was going to say, those are the very interesting one. And This is the people I'm talking about when I'm saying I don't know how it's going to shake out. So you could pick the wrong horse to back, if you will. That's what's scary about that. You pick the wrong one, and now you're stuck with him, especially if he has to go in your lineup. If you were going to pick one, which one would you pick? I know one is probably owned higher than we like to talk about, but if you got to choose.
Out of what you're saying, Jones?
Out of the backfield of Green Bay.
Yeah. I would stay away because this is a tough one because Jones only had one carry. That's it. But it was a 20-yard touchdown. So that's interesting. He obviously wasn't a part of it. It's just strange that he finally gets his first carry and it's in overtime. Just odd. And we could say that he looked really good there for a couple weeks. But then before his injury, week 10, the week 9 game against Detroit, he was not good at all. So, and Williams has been really good. I would lean Williams for sure. If I'm going to pick one, I just worry that it could be more of a split than we would want. But I'm definitely going to lean Williams just for how he's played the last couple of weeks. Yeah, and Jones, they might still be easing him back. I don't know for sure. But yeah, I'd go Williams out of those two. But I'd still, if you're the Williams owner, I'd pick up Jones if he's out there. That's for sure. I wouldn't let him sit around. And go pick him up just in case. You don't know. I guess probably not going to make a difference this week. But and also, just to throw a quick name, if Rex Burkhead is somehow out there in your league, he's owned in 62% of leagues. He's probably in most competitive leagues he's owned. But if he's not, pick him up. So he's one of the few that might have a possibility of being out there. Anybody else here that is standing out running back wise? Because there's not really any that I like this week.
No, I see waivers in general are really, really slim. I don't have anyone that I'm loving, and you know those are the best options right now. And usually I would have been like, oh, you have to pick up one of those. Wait a week, find out. You might get the golden ticket. Can't wait. I don't see myself playing those guys because I think the risk is way too high when you're about to hit the playoffs.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to, but if you have to.
Yeah, if you have to, it's going to be one of those guys.
All right, wide receivers here. Let's see. If Josh Gordon is out there in your league, I don't think he is in most anymore.
I was gonna say,
if he was, go pick him up. He'd be my top because he looks really good, I think.
He skyrocketed. So he's owned in 67% of ESPN.
So in most competitive leagues, he should be taken. If he wasn't, he's the top of my list. That's just, easy to say. He looked good. He hasn't played a game in years, and he actually looked pretty good. So I would pick him up. What about Jermaine Kearse? He's only owned in 39% of leagues.
Yeah, I think he's a very good option. He's been, we're kind of on the McCown.
Yeah, for some reason.
Yeah. But yeah, I think he is a good option. Do I think he's going to be, I don't know. I don't think he's a star, but, you look at the past 2 weeks and you have to think he's a better play than most of the other guys that are on this list so far. And he's going against Denver, who, as we have seen, very. They're not, and they're going to be without the corner, right?
Denver just doesn't scare me anymore, like at all.
Yeah,
it is not that. There's not that they're not talented. It's the fact that I think they've just given up. I think at this point, don't you think they've given up? Just overall, what's the defense have to play for? I don't think they have anything to play for. So I just don't. I don't think they're going to step up. I don't know. I just don't. I don't see it. I don't see them stepping up. So I don't even know if it matters because the way McCown throws the ball around to these guys, they're going to get opportunity. So I think he's going to be a good one. I'll throw out D.D. Westbrook again. His targets are going up. Hearns was out, so that helped him. But he's been getting a lot of targets. He had 78 yards this week. He's had 2 games in a row with 6 catches. Not too bad, but they got Seattle. Seattle's pass defense isn't scary right now with all the injuries. So they did do pretty solid against Philly. Maybe they, still could be pretty good. But D.D. Westbrook, I wouldn't mind playing him next week. I wouldn't be scared about it. I think he could be solid. Anybody else here? Who's some standout? Maybe Corey Coleman. Yeah, he's not owned as much, but he did nothing this past week, which is just kind of strange. I don't know if that's just all Gordon coming back. I still think there's more there. He played, let's see here, 81% of the snaps, but didn't catch any balls on 4 targets. That's an odd game. I still like him. I think
Yeah, I still like him, but that is
it's concerning.
Yeah, you hate to see that right before you play him. especially since Gordon's going to play again. They're probably going to try to see what he has. But I think Corey Coleman is probably safer than a lot of these guys. I still like Jermaine Kearse more than Corey Coleman.
Yes, me too. Yeah, definitely. I would too. What about, still with Corey Davis? He's still not owning much. He's not doing a lot. Are we just giving up on it for this year and wait till next year?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah,
I think it's time to call that one.
Yeah, just like, it's not happening right now. Maybe next year, which 5th pick in the draft. I feel like he should be better than this. So,
and actually, a guy that you should look into is, and it's a little bit of a stretch, but at the same time, if you're really, really desperate, is Marquise Goodwin.
Oh, yeah.
I
like him.
He's been solid for the last 4 games. Garoppolo, he looks okay in there so far. And last game with him, 8 catches for 99 yards. So I like him, and he's only owned in, 15% of leagues. So he is available. So Marquise Goodwin out of San Francisco is kind of a value pick.
I might put him up there, maybe only behind Kearse, really.
I think so. Well, yeah, and Gordon probably.
If Gordon's out there, Gordon would be 1, Kearse, probably Goodwin, and then probably for me, Westbrook is kind of the order I think I'd have them in right now.
That sounds about right.
I think it'd be something similar to that. Yeah, that's about where I'd be going. I don't really have any others. I don't think I'd want to play any of these other guys in a playoff matchup. I know you might have to, but I think if you're desperate, I feel like you can probably get one of them, one of those type of players, possibly. I mean, not every league, but if you can't get one of those, it's really a toss-up anyway. So, there's no, I don't have it. It could change.
We gave you, those 4 options. You should be able to get one of them.
Hopefully. Anything in the tight ends here?
Well, I mean, it is a big question, right? So Gronk is supposed to be suspended for a game. If you had him, you absolutely have to pick someone up. Who are you looking for?
There's not a lot of good options.
No.
If you would hope that somebody like Cameron Brate is available. He's above our 50% mark, but that could be low enough where he could be available. It's not that he's been doing great. He had the 2 touchdowns this past week, which helped him.
That's pretty great.
But before that, though, he had 4 straight games of only 1 catch each game. Yeah. That's a bit worrisome.
True. But,
going against Detroit, who's just been bad lately.
Yes,
so.
But the last game, he 2 catches for 2 touchdowns, anomaly style. But he did much better when Jameis Winston was in there in the beginning of the year, and now Jameis Winston is back, and that's when he caught the 2 touchdowns.
I mean, there's not a lot of good options here. There's players, there's names you've heard of, but none of them have been doing that well. Hooper, Clay, Croft. I mean, one of those guys might have a good week. I can't tell you which one it is. Honestly, maybe Clay going against the Colts. That could be decent. Croft going against the Bears. Don't have a great defense. I don't know. That could be one. Or do you go with Ricky Seals-Jones?
I actually, out of the ones that we just mentioned, I like Ricky Seals-Jones better.
Just take it. If you're down here with these kind of players, that's your better upside maybe.
He went against the Rams, who have this season have been pretty solid on defense. And he only caught 2 balls, but for 44 yards, he made the most out of the catches. They need weapons on the Arizona offense. I don't think they can shy away from him. So I think they're going to keep giving it to him. And Tennessee is kind of a mess. So I do like Ricky Seals-Jones. I don't know whether he'll get in the end zone like he did this first 2 games, but I like his upside better than I'd feel better putting him in there than definitely Clay. Or, someone like that.
A name really out there. How about Steven Anderson from the Texans? He played after Fedorowicz went down with an injury. And he had 12 targets, first off. Caught 5 of them for 79 yards and a touchdown. So he moved, the injury to Fedorowicz obviously moved him up there. And then Ellington was knocked out of the game. Braxton Miller was knocked out of the game. So he was able to get quite a few targets. So if Fedorowicz is out again, Steven Anderson is going to probably be the second option behind Hopkins going against San Francisco. This could be a player that, that's one really good game. Maybe that's it. But I don't know. That could be interesting to me. I might honestly go with him over a lot of those other options. I might go with him over, the Crofts and the Clays and the Hoopers. I might go with Steven Anderson over there. There's I think a better chance with going against a weak opponent. I kind of like this one. Actually, I'm going to go with Steven Anderson. He's my pick. Go with Steven Anderson.
Yeah, I don't hate that one, especially if he is the number 1 tight end, in Houston. What's not to like there? So, yeah. And the thing I do love about the tight end situation is the same reason I hate it, right? The fact that it's so thin that if you want to take a chance on it, it's not a bad place to go. Because I don't think you'll really get, unless you're going against one of the top guys, you might as well take that Hail Mary approach. Someone that is a little less known that just has a better, schedule, better opportunity to catch a few balls. Because, you can definitely go the safer route and get 4 points. But I would definitely go upside and go someone that can possibly catch a touchdown that does see a lot of targets. And there's not a lot of them out there, so.
Yep. All right, here we go. Defenses. Let's talk about defenses for the week. And if you're streaming defenses, what are you going to go after here? I'll start. Defenses differ on what's available, so we can go above 50% just slightly. And there's actually, to me, there's a couple decent options. Nothing maybe that you look and are extremely excited about, but there's some decent options out here. I still like the Patriots. They've another good game. They've had a bunch of them in a row. They play Miami. They're about 60% owned, so they might not be out there in your league. But if they are, I like the Patriots. And I think you're rolling with the Patriots in your league, in the big league we're in, so you have enough confidence there.
You look at the last 5 games. You can even go farther back than that. 7 games in a row, they've been plus 7 or more. You gotta love it, and they're going against Miami. So yeah, absolutely.
Some others here, you could go with the Titans going against Arizona. Arizona has not been very good offensively. And the Titans have have had 2 good weeks in a row going against weaker opponents. So they're showing they can, when they have a worse opponent, they can get it done. And the nice thing about if you pick up the Titans, they go and play San Francisco the next week. So if you win, you get 2 weeks in a row of playing against a weaker opponent. So Titans are a decent one. Even the Bengals going against the Bears. Bengals, they've been kind of an up and down defense on the year. They've had some good weeks, some bad weeks, but the Bears aren't a terribly impressive offense. So the Bengals are another good one.
Yeah, I actually like Bengals quite a bit in this one. I think between the fact that you have a weak opponent that you're going to play, Trubisky hasn't really shown he can do anything. People are loading up the box. It doesn't look like they have too many answers for that. And yeah, you would hope that you're going to get double digits in the playoffs, right? Like, you just hope that. But they haven't gone negative. They got negative once this year. But they keep bouncing around. And usually they get you, 5 points at least. And then every once in a while, it seems like every other week they'll go above. So I actually do like the Bengals. I think that is a very, very good matchup.
So that's who you'd pick over the Titans? Bengals or Titans? If you had to make that choice in your league in a really big-time playoff game, would you pick the Bengals or the Titans? Asking for a friend.
Is this you? I would, no, I actually would go Bengals. Okay. I like Bengals better.
I own both of them. I picked them up last week with these good matchups coming up. So I have to make that choice, and I haven't made that choice yet.
I don't know. I like Cincinnati better in that one.
But even if you're not looking for, if you don't have to play the Titans this week, I'd still pick them up if you have a spot on the bench, if you're looking for future, because they got San Francisco week 15. So look ahead to that too. And just I'd look to that if you're, looking for defenses. What about, would you go with the Packers playing against Cleveland?
I was going to say, there's 2. We might as well lump them together, right? Because I feel like the Bills and Packers are in the same situation.
Yep.
Where they're playing Indianapolis or Cleveland. Both are horrendously bad offenses. So you figure that both of them are going to do fine. I'm trying to figure out which one I actually think I would prefer to have. Packers are at Cleveland. Bills are at home. I'm trying to think if that would sway me. The thing that scares me about the Bills is they went to a very dark place for a while. With 3 games in a row where they were negative.
I know.
In a big way.
Yeah, that's a worry.
That would probably get me off of that, and that's why I'd probably go Green Bay versus Cleveland, because I think Green Bay needs it more too.
Yeah.
They're going to have Hundley. They need this win, and then if they do, there's a good chance that they get Aaron Rodgers where they could actually make a playoff push. So I think they're going to be out for blood, even though they're going against a Cleveland team they should have no business losing to. I think they're going to lock it down. So I would go Green Bay in that situation, I think.
There's actually some good options out there, I feel like, some decent ones. You have put a few waiver claims in at this point for these defenses.
Yeah, and just
if you're doing this. And even the Texans, they're owning a little bit more leagues. They're going against San Francisco, so it should be a good matchup. They haven't been great either. They've had a lot of injuries. But San Francisco, still Garoppolo looked decent, but it's still a rookie, or not rookie quarterback, basically, essentially a rookie quarterback. It feels like he barely played. And could be another option. So there's some options out there if you're looking, I would say. So.
And do you have, I mean, obviously, defenses and kickers. This is the only time I'm going to talk about kickers all year. Do you have any kickers on here? And I don't even care about percentages necessarily. Like, probably the top 10 are, more than likely people are just picking out of, like, top 10. But, is there anyone here that you like that has, like, perhaps been under the radar?
Do
you go matchups too hard on kickers? Or
not
you just
really.
Stick with it?
I kind of stick with it. But maybe, Crosby's been dropped in a lot of leagues going against Cleveland. This could be the week where he's able to do a little more. The offense should at least get him into field goal range, you would think. Maybe they can't get it done beyond that. But I think against a team like Cleveland, they should be able to maybe get him in field goal range. Maybe. They might not. It might be a bad week for him. It's tough because these kickers are just kind of up and down. Maybe get Dan Bailey if he's out there in the league because he's been hurt all year. And so he's not all year, but he missed 5 weeks and he's back now. So chances are he hasn't been picked up yet. And Dan Bailey is always one of the top kickers when he's healthy and when he's out there. So maybe pick up Dan Bailey going against the Giants there for Dallas. That could be a good one if your kicker hasn't been getting it done. Go with him. So I think that's about it. We didn't talk about streaming quarterbacks, actually. We just bring it up real quick.
Just in case.
A lot of people have their quarterbacks at this point, but not everybody. There is some people that still have to, throw one in there. Still McCown, I still wouldn't worry.
How is McCown still?
That's just because it's Josh McCown.
I know, but he's been doing so well.
Jameis could be a good one here. He was dropped in a lot going against Detroit.
He looked good enough.
I think so too. And Detroit was better defense early, so their ranking's going to be a little skewed that way. They've been poor, I think, for the most part. They haven't been very good lately. So I think Jameis and McCown are both pretty decent options. After that, it gets a little bit more rough for me. Not many others. Andy Dalton, he's always a possibility if you absolutely need somebody.
He has been solid.
Yeah, he's had a pretty decent stretch. And we're recording this, it's during the Monday night game right now, and he already has 11.3 going, and there's 6 minutes left in the second quarter. So he has 11.3 going early in this one. Who knows if he'll actually turn out to do anything. But the last 3 weeks, he has 23.2, 24.6, 18.6. So he's a good one. I think not a good one, but decent.
He's a solid
Would you rather,
if you're really in it.
Out of those three, Winston, McCown, Dalton, who would you go with?
Dalton would probably be
safest,
safer, but I would say number 3. I would say probably go McCown because he's safe and been doing really well. Then Jameis and then Andy Dalton.
I think I might go Jameis first.
I think so.
Then I don't know.
He did have 22 going against Detroit. I get where you're at, but
I might go Jameis.
Scares me a bit. I would go McCown.
The only thing is still the McCown at Denver. Yes, Denver hasn't been as good, but still, there's something about that worries me. But Denver is down to being. They're down there. They're not even in the top half of the defenses. They're down there now, which is just crazy.
I do have to say, McCown, 2 back-to-back 30-plus performances, but he did run 2 in against KC. That is a very unusual one.
Yep.
So maybe you worry about that. And also, once more, if you are streaming quarterbacks, if you don't have one of these guaranteed guys, I would pick up Aaron Rodgers. If nothing else, you can block someone else. He's still owned in 54% of leagues. It's a possibility he could come back in a week. Not for this week, not for week 1 of the playoffs, but the week after. So, once again, if he's still there and you think that someone might play him against you or you need him, go out and get him. It's just it's a safety precaution.
All right, I think that's going to do it, though, for waivers. Actually went longer than I expected with this show, with really not many people to add. So go out and get the players if you need to. And if you have to, play Mike Davis. Play Peyton Barber. Hopefully you don't have to. But, hey, people have won championships with worse players. So that is my motivation to you. You can get it done if you have to play one of those guys. Which I don't know. Maybe I should play Mike Davis over J.J. this week. I don't know.
That's a whole nother discussion if you want to have it.
We might have to talk about that in the mailbag. Maybe I'll send in a question. All right. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow.